Noswaith dda bawb, a chroeso i sesiynau adolygu Carlam Cymru. Bydd sesiwn heddiw yn canolbwyntio ar Cymraeg ail iaith, TGAU, Welsh Second Language GCSE, ac yn cael ei gyflwyno gan Miss Stevens o ysgol Olchfa yn Abertawe. Bydd sesiwn yn para tua 45 munud, lle bydd Miss Stevens yn cyflwyno'r cynnwys perthnasol. Yn ystod y sesiwn, os ydych gennych unrhyw gwestiynau, defnyddiwch yr adran cwestiwn ac ateb Q&A top y sgrin, ac fe wnawn ni'n gorau i'ch ateb chi. Byddai'n rhoi dolen link yn yr adran Q&A yn fuan, ac os ydych chi'n hapus i adael eich enw a'ch cyfeiriad e-bost, byddai'n braf gallu cadw mewn cysylltiad â chi mwyn rhoi gwybod am ddigwyddiadau eraill yn y dyfodol. Gallwch glicio ar y ddolen ar unrhyw adeg yn ystod y sesiwn. Bydd sesiwn heddiw yn cael ei recordio, a bydd y recordiad ac unrhyw adnoddau perthnasol yn cael ei rhoi ar wefan e-sgol o dan y tab Carlam Cymru. Felly, diolch yn fawr, Miss Stevens, draw atoch chi.
Siamai, croeso nôl pawb, a croeso i sesiwn 2 Cymraeg ail iaith. So, welcome to the second session of the Carlam Cymru sessions. So, heddi, rydyn ni'n canolbwyntio ar sut i ymateb i sbardun a sut i ymateb i eraill wrth paratoi am arholiadau llafar. So, today we're going to look at how to respond to a stimulus, but also how to respond to others when preparing for upcoming speaking exams. So, i ddechrau te, nod ar sesiwn heddi ydy, dyn ni'n mynd i ddechrau gyda chwilio am camgymeriadau. So, we're going to look at how to recognise errors and common misconceptions that come up in our work. We're going to look at different ways we can respond to a stimulus, be it a video or a poster. We're going to revise different ways to respond to other people, and then we're going to look at a variety of questions to allow us to respond and answer and ask questions to others. So dyna'r sesiynau heddi. Felly i ddechrau te, so the first task today yw cywirwch y camgymeriadau, correct the mistakes. So we've got 5 responses here, responses that you may use in your own work. Okay, a beth dwi eisiau chi wneud, please, ydy cywiro, correct the mistakes. So mae un camgymeriad ym mhob brawddeg. Okay, one mistake in each sentence. So rhif 1, yn darllen fel, o na, mae'n gas gyda fy Saesneg. So fy has been underlined and in bold there, achos mae'n anghywir. Rhif 2, dwi'n ddim yn cytuno o gwbl. Beth sy'n bod gyda dwi'n ddim, okay? If it's underlined and in bold, it's anghywir, incorrect. Rhif 3, pwynt da. Dwi'n debyg i'r fideo, achos dwi'n chwarae rygbi ar nos Gwener. So, mae'n lan i chi beth ydych chi'n meddwl na, beth yw'r broblem. Dwi'n meddwl bod mae gwyliau yn anhygoel. A rhif 5, dwi wrth fy modd yn canu achos mae'n bywiog. Okay? And if you complete those really quickly and you're looking for a bit of a challenge to extend yourself, then what I'd like you to do is try and explain the errors using grammatical reasoning. So tell me, is it a spelling error, is it a punctuation error, or is it a grammar error? So mutations, wrong verb tenses, etc. And I want you to try and tell me that in as much detail as you possibly can. Okay, so 2 minutes now, 2 minutes for you to try and correct those mistakes. These are common errors that are used when we're responding to whether it be the video, the poster, or other members of our group or partnership. Okay, so 2 minutes yn dechrau nawr. Bant chi, off you go. Cofiwch hefyd, also remember, you cannot change any of the other words, only the word or the phrase that's underlined. Okay, you can't change anything around it to make it make sense. They're looking for whether or not you can correct the mistake that's in bold and underlined. Okay, so 1 munud bach arall, a wedyn ewn ni trwy'r atebion. We'll go through the answers then in a minute. Okay, os oes unrhyw cwestiynau, rowch nhw yn y chat box. Any questions, put them in the chat box. Okay, right te. Bant â ni, yr atebion, the answers. So you can self-assess your work and you can see how many of these you got correct, okay? So, rhif 1, o na, mae'n gas gyda fy Saesneg. So what we want to say there is mae'n gas gyda fi, which is another way to say I hate, which we discussed last week, okay? Mae'n gas gyda fi yw ffordd arall o ddweud dwi'n casau, so mae'n gas gyda fi. Also, remember, fi means me and fy means my, okay? So fy is the incorrect word in this context. Rhif 2, dwi'n ddim yn cytuno. Now, dwi ddim, that corrects to. We don't have the apostrophe N in the negative because we've got the un after them, okay? So you don't need the apostrophe N after the I. So dwi ddim yn cytuno, I don't agree o gwbl at all. So that's a nice phrase for you to be able to use in your work. Dwi ddim yn cytuno o gwbl. I don't agree at all, okay? And you could say gyda if you wanted to say with. Rhif 3 wedyn, pwynt da. Dwi'n debyg i'r fideo achos dwi'n chwarae rygbi ar nos Gwener. A good point. I'm similar to the video because I play rugby ar nos Wener. Now, nos, which means night, causes a soft mutation. Okay, so every time you see nos, if the word after it starts with pataka, badaga, then you need to mutate that. So in this instance, with a G, we get rid of it. So it becomes nos Wener. So you'd also need a mutation if it was nos Lun for Monday night, nos Fawrth for Tuesday night, nos Fercher for Wednesday night, and then Thursday, nos Iau, nos Sadwrn, and nos Sul, they don't get affected because S is not in our list of words that needs a mutation, okay? Rhif 4. Dwi'n meddwl bod mae gwyliau yn anhygoel. Now, we never use bod and my together next to each other, okay? So dwi'n meddwl bod, I think that. You need the subject directly after bod. Dwi'n meddwl bod gwyliau. I think that holidays are amazing. I think that school is fun. I think that hockey is brilliant. You don't need my as well, okay? A rhif 5, dwi wrth fy modd yn canu achos mae'n bywiog. Once again, a grammatical error, a mutation. Unwaith eto, y treiglad meddal hefyd, the soft mutation. Ond y tro yma, gydag ansoddeiriau. So this time, soft mutation is needed because an adjective follows mine. Okay, so mine means it's. Achos mine, because it's. And if you have an adjective after that, we need a treiglad meddal, and a b goes to a v. So bywiog goes to fywiog. Okay, so work out how many of those you got correct. If you didn't get them all correct, then make sure you write in the answers so that you can refer back to these when you're doing revision. Okay, so dyna task 1. Nawr te, dyn ni'n edrych ar sut I ymateb I sbardun. Okay, now some of you watching this will be doing the Unit 1, the Uned 1 exam, where you've got to watch a video and respond to the video. And some of you may be doing Uned 2, lle rydych chi'n gorfod edrych ar poster ac ymateb i'r daflen yna. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're doing Uned 1, a video, neu Uned 2, a daflen, the poster or the video. Because the sentence patterns are very, very similar, and what you need to know applies almost to both exams. So ar y sgrin, mae grid, mae 2 golofn yn y grid. So Uned 1 ar chwith, Uned 2 ar y dde. Okay, so you've got Unit 1 on the left, which is the video, and Unit 2 on the right, which is the poster or the sheet. Okay, so you'll know which exam you're doing. But the sentence patterns are very, very similar. So I'm just going to run through them with you quickly. You can practice now repeating these after me to practice your pronunciation. Okay, it's really important gydag arholiad llafar bod rydyn ni'n anghanu pethau'n dda, okay, ac yn gywir. So after me then, try the Uned 1 ones first. Ar y clip video, mae so-and-so yn trafod, okay? So on the video clip, so-and-so discusses. So all you need to do there is put the name of the person that comes up in the video clip in the gap and then say, using the bullet points on the sheet, what they've discussed. So ar y clip video, mae so-and-so yn trafod. Second one, ar y clip video, mae so-and-so yn dweud, okay? On the video clip, so-and-so says. Rhif 3, yn ôl y clip video. Yn ôl y clip video, according to the video clip. Rhif 4, marn so-and-so, in so-and-so's opinion, this is what happens. They like this, or they hate this, or they think this. Okay. The next one, mae blank yn meddwl bod. So you could say, mae John yn meddwl bod. Mae Harry yn meddwl bod. Mae Catrin yn meddwl bod. This is what they think. And once again, then you'd use the video to help you form the rest of that sentence. So mae Catrin yn meddwl bod Cymraeg yn wych. Catrin thinks that Welsh is great, okay? But this is your sentence starter. You could say fel blank ar y clip video, like John on the video clip, like Jack on the video clip. Fel is like, okay, as in similar to. Yn debyg I is another way to say similar to. Yn debyg I John ar y clip video. Similar to John on the video clip, dwi'n hoffi nofio. Okay? Yn wahanol I so-and-so ar y clip video. Different to this person on the video clip. And what can be really impressive is if you use a different tense when you're discussing the video. So you could say something like, dywedodd Jack fod. So Jack said that this was good. Or Jack said that this was useful. Or dywedodd Jack fod y party yn ddiflas. Okay, Jack said that the party was boring. So those are your Unit 1 sentence structures. What it may be worthwhile you doing is noting some of those down, especially if there's any new ones there for you. And you can add them to your list. The bigger variety you can use, the better. So we're now going to look at the similar structures in Unit 2 in Unit 2. Okay, so are there on the right now we're looking at mae'r llun yn dangos, the picture shows. So all you've got to do there is put a picture that's on the poster in that gap. Mae'r llun yn dangos ysgol, the picture shows school. Mae'r llun yn dangos y newyddion, the picture shows the news. Okay. Try this one. Ar y daflen, mae llun o. On the sheet or on the poster, there's a picture of. Okay, so ar y daflen, mae llun o fyw yn iach. On the sheet, there's a picture of healthy living. Okay, try this one after me. Yn y lluniau, dwi'n gallu gweld. This is a nice one. Dwi'n gallu, I can. So in the pictures, I can see. Rhif 4, mae so-and-so yn awgrymu. So-and-so suggests. Okay, so ar y daflen, or on the sheet, mae'r person yn awgrymu, the person suggests, or mae'r box yn awgrymu, the box suggests, or mae Noah yn awgrymu, Noah suggests. Iawn? Mae'r daflen yn trafod, the sheet discusses. Same word there as Unit 1. Trafod, awgrymu, dweud, okay? Keywords here. So trafod means discuss, dweud means say, dangos means show. Okay, really important 3 words there. The next one on the list, mae'r ystadegau yn dangos, the statistics show. So if you're looking at a graph or a bar chart or a pie chart, anything that's going to show you data, then you can use things like mae'r ystadegau yn dangos, mae'r graff yn dangos. And obviously you need to get the information from the poster to be able to fill the rest of that sentence in. Okay, next one down is one we heard on for Unit 1 as well. Yn ôl, according to. So instead of yn ôl y video, we've now got yn ôl y daflen, according to the sheet. Okay. You could, if you wanted to start your conversation off by starting about the title, you could use a phrase such as teitl y daflen ydy, the title of the sheet is. And then you need to read the title and obviously then start expressing your opinions on that topic. And the last one, mae'r gosodiad yn dweud, the statement says. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now, I'm going to give you 3 geiliad, 30 seconds to practice saying those, whichever one you're doing, Unit 1 neu Unit 2, practice saying some of those statements and getting some of them down before we move on. Okay, iawn, 3 geiliad te, 30 seconds starting now, bant ych chi. OK, da iawn. Felly, rydyn ni'n mynd i defnyddio nhw nawr mewn cyd-destun perthnasol. Okay, we're going to use those now in a relevant context. So, what I'd like us to do now is I would like us to have a look at the following two phrases. So we've got un ar ffrindiau ac un ar ysgol. Now, if you're doing Unit 1, if you're doing the first unit, the one with the video, imagine that these are things that have been said in the video.
If you're doing Unit 2, Unit 2, imagine that these statements have come up on your poster. Okay, so we've got yr un top ar ffrindiau, so the topic of friends. And the statement says, mae ffrind da yn garedig ac yn barod I wrando trwy'r amser. So a good friend is garedig, kind, ac yn barod I wrando and is ready to listen at all times. Okay, then the bottom section, we've got ysgol, school. And this one says, mae gormod o bwysau ar bobl ifanc yn yr ysgol. There's too much, gormod o, too much, pwysau, pressure, ar bobl ifanc yn yr ysgol, on young people in school. Mae asesiadau bob wythnos ac dwi'n casau gwaith cartref. So there are assessments, asesiadau, you could probably work out as assessments, bob wythnos, every week, ac dwi'n casau gwaith cartref, and I hate homework. Mae'n well da fi ymlacio. I prefer relaxing. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now, depending on which exam you're doing, I would like you to imagine that you've seen this on your video or your poster, and how would you tell me, how would you refer to that? How would you tell me, on the poster, I can see this, or in the video, I heard this, or so-and-so says in the video this, so-and-so thinks this in the video, okay? So-and-so says this or discusses this on the poster. So I'm going to quickly go back to these, using these phrases now, okay? How could you respond to tell me about ffrindiau and ysgol? Now, these are only your starting point, okay? It's only briefly that you need to discuss the video or the poster. Then you obviously need to go on and tell me your opinions on these things, use different tenses, use idioms, and obviously keep your conversation going, okay? So what I'd like you to do now then, 30 geiliad, 30 seconds. I would just like you to write one sentence for each one. Telling me how you would respond to this if it was in your video, or how you would respond to it if it was on your poster. Okay, so 30 geiliad yn dechrau now, 30 seconds starting now. Okay, and if you're trying to extend your work, think back to what we did in the last session as well, where we looked at mynegi barn, giving opinions. Okay, think about what idioms maybe you could put in. Think about how to say if you agree, cytuno, neu angcytuno, disagree. Okay, right, 10 geiliad, 10 seconds, and then we'll look at some examples that you maybe could have said. Okay, right, so here is one example. So in the box Lloyd, in the grey box, there's one example for Unit 1 and one example for Unit 2, and then the same for ysgol. Okay, so the first one says, ar y daflen, so if you're doing the poster, ar y daflen, on the sheet, maen nhw'n trafod ffrindiau. Now that would be enough for you to say, on the sheet, they discuss friends. And then what you'd need to do after that is obviously mynegi barn, give your opinions, and say if you agree or disagree, and then you could talk about your own personal experiences. Okay, if you're doing Unit 1, which is the video, then you could say, ar y clip video, mae John yn dweud bod ffrind da yn garedig ac yn barod I wrando. So on the video clip, John says that a good friend is kind and ready to listen. And then once again, I'd expect you to give your own personal opinions, try and extend your answer, and then obviously converse with the rest of your group or your pair. Okay, same for ysgol. Ar y poster, mae'r gosodiad yn dweud bod gormod o bwysau ar bobl ifanc. So on the poster, or ar y daflen on the sheet, mae'r gosodiad yn dweud. The statement says that there is gormod o bwysau. Now what I've done for both of these is when I'm referring to the stimulus, when I'm referring to the video or the poster, I need to use what's been given to me. So I'm using the information that's been given to me and putting a sentence starter in front of it. Okay, so on the poster, the statement says that there is gormod o bwysau, too much pressure on young people. The same way for the video clip, ar y clip video, marn Jenny, mae hi'n casau gwaith cartref. So I've taken, once again, part of that ysgol box on the video clip, in Jenny's opinion, she hates homework. And then once again, you could agree, disagree, and give your own personal opinion. Those are just some of the examples. There are several ways that you could discuss that video or that poster, but those are just some that work in this context, okay? So we're going to have a look now then at Ymateb i eraill. So when you're doing your video exam or your poster exam, then you have to work with your partner or as part of a group, okay? So it's really important that you can start the conversation, that you can give your opinions like we did last session, but also that you can respond to one another in a natural way. Now, there's many different ways that we can respond to one another, okay, and respond to the video. So we're going to look at positive and negative ways to respond to not only our partner or our group, but the stimulus as well. Okay, now a lot of these will be familiar to you. Some of them may be new, so you can write down any that you've not seen before. And once again, we're going to practice the pronunciation because this session is closely linked to the speaking exams. Okay, so it's important that you can pronounce them and you've got the pronunciation correct. So I would like you to say them after me, please. So we'll go through the left-hand column first, and then we'll go to the right. Okay, felly, ar ôl fi, dwi'n cytuno. So that's I agree. Okay, dwi'n cytuno, I agree. Dwi'n cytuno'n llwyr, I fully agree. I completely agree. Okay. Dwi'n cytuno cant y cant. I agree 100%. Another way to say I fully agree, I completely agree. Dwi'n cytuno cant y cant. That's a nice one to use. If your partner has said that they like e-sgol and you also like e-sgol, then you can say dwi'n cytuno cant y cant. Obviously, you can use the word gyda there as well for I agree with. So I agree with the video. Dwi'n cytuno gyda'r video. Dwi'n cytuno gyda ti. I agree with you. Or if you just want to say your friend's name, dwi'n cytuno gyda Helen. I agree with Helen. Okay. Right, let's have a look at the bottom section ones then. So after me, point da. Good point. Syniad da. Good idea. Wrth gwrs. Of course. Yn bendant, definitely. So if somebody in your group says something and you think, oh, I definitely agree with that, then you can say yn bendant. Efallai, perhaps. Or weithiau, sometimes. Okay? So with the top two of point da and syniad da, you can replace those with any adjectives. You could say point ardderchog, an excellent point. Point anhygoel, an amazing point. Syniad gwych, a great idea. Okay, so those are some of the positive ways you can respond to your partner or your group. If you look at the right-hand side now, we've got negative ways. So ways you can say that you disagree or you don't think that what they're saying is right. Okay, so let's go through these. And I want you to once again practice these with me. Felly, dwi ddim yn cytuno. Dwi'n anghytuno. Dwi ddim yn cytuno o gwbl. I don't agree at all. O gwbl. Look at the left-hand side. Now, these ones pretty much match, but in a negative context, okay? So after me, we're going to say point twp. Syniad twp. Syniad sbwriel. Byth, which means never. Oh, never. Dwi ddim yn cytuno. Byth. Beth ydy'r point? Dim siawns. Okay? You've also got things you could say like, oh, na. You could just say dim o gwbl on its own, not at all. Okay, so those are some of the negative ones. So if somebody in your group said that they dwli ar golf, that they love golf, and you hate golf, then you could say, oh, dim siawns, no chance. Dwi ddim yn cytuno o gwbl. I don't agree with you at all. And then you can carry on with your opinions about golf. Okay, right. I want you to use those now then to see if you can respond to these. So imagine that somebody in your group or your partner have said these four statements and you're going to agree with them or in some way respond to them positively or negatively. Okay, so I'll tell you what these mean first of all, and then you can practice forming your responses. Okay, so top left says, mae dysgu Cymraeg yn hawdd. Learning Welsh is easy and hawdd, easy. Okay, so if you agree, think about what you could say. Dwi'n cytuno'n llwyr. Point da, achos, and then obviously give your own opinions. The bottom left, mae sbwriel a graffiti ym mhobman yn fy ardal I, mae'n siom. There's rubbish, sbwriel a graffiti mhobman, everywhere yn fy ardal I, in my area. Mae'n siom, it's a shame. Okay, so if you cytuno, then think of different ways you can cytuno, agree, or think of different ways you can respond. If you disagree, then think of different ways you can do that. Just remember, it's really important to get variety in your work, okay? So if you've used doing cytuno once, try and use oh, ti'n iawn, you're right, or a pwynt da, or a syniad da. Don't try and use doing cytuno several times. Try and mix it up a little bit for the best marks, okay? Top right now then, we've got mae llawer o bobl yn dod I Gymru ar wyliau. Mae'n llawn hanes ac atyniadau cyffroes. So, llawer o bobl, lots of people come to Wales on holiday. It's full of hanes, full of history, ac atyniadau cyffroes and exciting attractions, okay? So, once again, if somebody in your group said that, could you say, oh, pwynt da, dwi'n cytuno, or pwynt, oh, dwi ddim yn cytuno o gwbl. And then the bottom right, okay, fy hoff app ar fy ffôn ydy TikTok achos dwi'n hoffi gwylio fideos bob dydd. So my favourite, fy hoff app, my favourite app ydy TikTok achos dwi'n hoffi gwylio fideos. I like watching videos every day, bob dydd. So once again, think about how you could respond to that. Do you agree? How else could you say yes? Or sometimes I agree, or I fully agree, or I disagree. And if you disagree, go on to tell me what you prefer. If you agree, tell me why. Remember now, these responses are just the starting point, okay? These are just your immediate reaction. Then you need to go on to give your own opinions. So follow it by your opinions that we discussed in the last session, okay? So what I'd like you to do now, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to try and get some responses for those 4 bubbles down. Okay, you can write them in the chat box if you want. Remember, unrhyw gwestiynau, any questions can also be asked in the chat box, okay? So, munud a hanner, off you go. Just remember as well, think about things that make an answer successful, okay? So yes, we need to respond to others. Yes, we need to agree and disagree with others, but opinions, idioms, good reasons. If you can as well, try and get in a third person. So I think this, but my friend thinks this. Okay, let's go through then a couple of examples before we move on to some questioning techniques. So, mae dysgu Cymraeg yn hawdd, learning Welsh is easy. Oh, we could say, if somebody in our group said that, we could respond with, oh, pwynt da, dwi'n cytuno. Good point, I agree. Yn fy marn I, mae Cymraeg yn anhygoel. Dwi'n mwynhau Cymraeg yn yr ysgol. Okay, mae sbwriel a graffiti ym mhobman yn fy ardal I, mae'n siom. O na, dwi'n anghytuno. Dwi ddim yn gweld sbwriel yn fy ardal I. Oh no, I disagree. I don't see rubbish in my area. Mae fy ardal I yn bert. My area is very pretty. Okay, so you can compare. Prefer, say what you prefer, compare, make those comparisons. Okay. Mae llawer o bobl yn dod I Gymru ar wyliau. Mae'n llawn hanes ac atyniadau cyffroes. Lots of people come to Wales on holiday. It's full of history and exciting attractions. Wrth gwrs, dwi'n cytuno cant y cant. Of course, I agree 100%. Dwi'n dwlu ar wyliau yng Nghymru. I love holidays in Wales. Dwi'n hoffi mynd i'r traethau. I like going to the beaches. And then you could extend that further by saying your favourite beach. You could extend that by saying your friend's opinion on the beaches. Maybe your friend prefers to go elsewhere. Okay? And the last one, fy hoff app ar fy ffôn ydy TikTok. Well, you may say that TikTok's your favourite app as well. So you could say something like, yn bendant, definitely. Dwi'n dwlu ar TikTok. I love TikTok bob dydd. You could say that you agree fully because you love TikTok, but you could also say what other apps you also like or what apps you dislike. So sometimes you can measure it at positive and then go on to a negative opinion as well. Okay? Da iawn. Yn symud ymlaen te, we're going to finish off now by looking at, for the last 10 minutes, we're going to look at questioning, question 9. Okay? So we've got, we looked at 18 questions previously. Okay? 18 means do you. But we're going to look at how can we respond to our partner or our group with more extended questioning techniques. So instead of just 18 hoffi, 18 mwynhau, we've got 4 key questions we're going to focus on here on the screen. Okay, and I really want you to focus on these 4. And then obviously when you're confident with these 4, you can add another question into the mix. Okay, so the top left, I would like you to repeat it after me. Beth ydy dy farn di am? What's your opinion about this? Okay, then you've got wyt ti'n cytuno bod something yn something else. So do you agree that the subject, that whether it's school, bilingualism, tourism, whatever it may be, is, and then an adjective, a describing word. So wyt ti'n cytuno bod ysgol yn hwyl? Do you agree that school is fun? Wyt ti'n cytuno bod siocled yn flasus? Do you agree that chocolate is tasty? Okay, so wyt ti'n cytuno bod subject, then the word yn, and then an adjective. You've got beth wyt ti'n meddwl o? What do you think of? What do you think of Cymru? Beth wyt ti'n meddwl o Abertawe? Beth wyt ti'n meddwl o Wrecsam? Beth wyt ti'n meddwl o wyliau tramor, holidays abroad? Okay, so all you've got to do there is say beth wyt ti'n meddwl o, and then put the relevant vocabulary in the gap. And then the last one, oes well gyda ti? Blank neu blank? Do you prefer this or this? Oes well gyda ti Abertawe neu Caerdydd? Do you prefer Abertawe neu Gaerdydd, Swansea or Cardiff? Oes well gyda ti siocled neu creision? Do you prefer chocolate or crisps? Okay, so these are the 4 key questions that we're going to focus on. Right, what I would like you to do then to practice, I've given you 3 topics. Okay, now all of the key vocabulary needs to go where the dots are, right, or where the lines are. So we've got 3 topics I'd like you to focus on. The first one being byw yn iach, healthy living. Now, under that topic comes food, drink, exercise, sports, anything like that, sleeping, water, making sure we've got a balanced diet. All of that comes under healthy living. You could also consider the use of technology, technoleg, to come under healthy living as well. The middle topic I would like you to consider is Cymru, Wales. How many questions can you create about Wales using these new 4 questions? And then you've got problemau pobl ifanc, okay? Young people's problems. So you could consider there things like yfedan oed, underage drinking, alcohol, cyffuriau. You could also consider problemau yn yr ardal, okay? Problems in the area, graffiti, sbwriel, vandaliaeth, dim digon o bethau i wneud, not enough things to do. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to create as many sentences as you can for each of these topics. And then what you should be starting to do is building up a bank of questions that you can use, okay? And then after the session, you can look back and you can use different topics. So you can look at maybe hobbyau, you can look at penwythnos, you can look at ysgol, and try and create different sentences on those topics, okay? So 2 minutes to try and create as many questions as you can on those 3 topics. Healthy living, byw yn iach, Cymru, Wales, and problemau pobl ifanc. And then we'll go through some examples and you can see if there's any you can add to your list. And then, like I said, you should start to be building up a bank of resources now that you can use to help you with revision. Okay, off you go, bant ych chi. Don't forget as well that if you're looking to extend your questions, okay, and you're quite comfortable with things like these, always remember how to add detail. So look for ble, where, if you can add that into your question. Pryd, when, gyda phwy, with who, okay? You could look at adding times in, trying to be as specific as possible. Okay, because variety is really important, but also it's important to include detail. Okay, that will help you structure your conversation well, ready for these speaking exams. Okay, 1 minute bach arall, 1 more minute. Try and get as many questions as you can down, and then we'll go through some examples, yeah? Okay, let's start having a look at some examples then. So I've got 3 columns. I'll use some examples of some of the types of questions you could have produced on these 3 topics. Okay, so it may be a good idea for maybe you to get some flashcards and start doing this. So for every topic that you go through, to look at what type of questions you could ask, especially if you're doing past papers. Of the video or of the poster in school, this may be an idea. Okay, so let's go through byw yn iach yn gynta. So, beth wyt ti'n meddwl o fwyta'n iach? So, beth wyt ti'n meddwl o? What do you think of? Fwyta'n iach, healthy living, healthy eating, sorry. Okay. Wyt ti'n cysgu am 8 awr bob nos? Do you sleep for 8 hours every night? Because that sleeping comes under healthy living. Okay. Beth ydy dy farn di am ymarfer? What's your opinion? Beth ydy dy farn di am ymarfer on exercising? Oes well gyda ti rhedeg neu chwarae cricket? So that question again, oes well gyda ti? Do you prefer running or playing cricket? Wyt ti'n cytuno bod yn bwysig byw yn iach? Do you agree that it's important, but yn bwysig, it's important to live healthy? Okay. Then you've got Cymru. Beth wyt ti'n meddwl o Gaerdydd? What do you think of Caerdydd, Cardiff? You could put any place in Wales there, so you could create loads of questions. Wyt ti wedi bod I Gaernarfon? Have you been to Caernarfon? Once again, you could replace that for any place. Beth ydy dy farn di am Zip World? What's your opinion on Zip World? You could put any attraction, any activity yng Nghymru, okay, any place, anything there that fits. Oes well gyda ti siopa yng Nghaerdydd neu mynd i'r traeth yn Abertawe? Do you prefer shopping in Cardiff yng Nghaerdydd, neu o mynd i'r traeth yn Abertawe, going to the beach in Swansea? And the last one, wyt ti'n cytuno bod Cymru yn bert? Do you agree that Wales is pretty? You could change Cymru, or you could change bert. Wyt ti'n cytuno bod Cymru yn bert? Wyt ti'n cytuno bod Cymru yn ddiflas? Wyt ti'n cytuno bod Cymru yn sbwriel? So you've got endless amount of options here on the questions you can create. Okay, and then the last one, we've got problemau pobl ifanc. Beth wyt ti'n meddwl o sbwriel yn yr ardal? What do you think of the rubbish in the area? Wyt ti'n gweld vandaliaeth? Do you see vandalism? Beth ydy dy farn di am yfed dan oed? What is your opinion on underage drinking? Oes well gyda ti siopa neu gwaith cartref? Do you prefer shopping or homework? Wyt ti'n cytuno bod gormod o bwysau ar bobl ifanc? Do you agree that there is too much pressure on young people? Okay, so those are just some of the options available to you for the responding. So just remember now then, when we are responding to each other, or when we're responding to our poster or a video, we need to try and use the sentence starters, yeah? On the video I can see, on the poster I can see. We need to try and give our opinions, which is what we did last week. We need to try and ask each other a good variety of questions. We need to use ways of agreeing or disagreeing, which we've looked at today. Okay, so you've got a lot of variety there to practice on. Use your past papers, practice as much as you can, and hopefully you can use some of these new extended patterns in your work. Diolch yn fawr iawn am y sesiwn heddi. Okay, diolch yn fawr iawn am eich amser. That's the end of the second session today. So if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat box, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Okay. Diolch yn fawr iawn, hwyl fawr. If you can start to leave the session now, that is the end of the session, okay? Diolch yn fawr iawn am ymuno.